They tryna turn Trenton into Baby Flint. Been signs by depression on the billboards ever since. 100 years ago we was lynched. Now they use germ warfare to kill us. I'm convinced, got the evidence. I look around and it's evident. Then go down to City Hall and see so much negligence. Real art is intelligent. A true artist sends messages that speak to your intelligence. They fought and died so I can do my thing. Not to get drunk and high or join no gang. I will not let none of you die in vain. For my people I bang, bang, bang. My ancestors been through so much pain. I don't let them die in vain. My ancestors been through so much pain. I don't let them die in vain. I rep for you in everything I do. I rep for you in every place I go. I rep for you in everything I do. In every place I go. They say post-traumatic slavery disorder's fake, but I just tell them all to wake up. Everything we went through, what a way down a rape, bro. It's in our genetic makeup. So I am my ancestors from block to block. Let's build like it's Tetris. We must unite, link up like a necklace. They fought and died and we disrespected. So I come to correct it. The legacy they left I protected. We only think about self and neglected. You're African but yet you rejected. No. My ancestors been through so much pain. I don't let them die in vain. My ancestors been through so much pain. I don't let them die in vain. I rep for you in everything I do. I rep for you in every place I go. I rep for you in everything I do. In every place I go. I do. I go.
Welcome back to another edition of New Freedom Exchange, your cultural expression for social dignity and community empowerment. I'm your co-host here with, who am I here with? Co-host Brother Deen, Mujahideen, here with
Assalamu alaikum, Sister Marsha.
Wa alaikum assalam, Imam Bilal Hassan here. Welcome to New Freedom Exchange. Welcome back, everybody. Salams and good evening. Hope everyone has been having a great day, great week so far. If you are tuned in, let us know where you're tuned in from, so we can shout you out, recognize you, let us know what city you're representing, state or country. And we certainly appreciate you all for listening and sharing. Share the live stream. For those who are watching, please share this live stream to your friends and to your family. Let them know we are streaming live on the last day of New Africa August, actually.
The whole month. It went kind of fast.
Yeah, it did go by fast. So, alaikum assalam, Sister Khadija, always here, the first one here. We appreciate the beloved, as always. We appreciate the beloved for tuning in. So today is last day for New Africa August programming. However, we have compiled the list, and the list is overflowing. So we will be continuing the series as we go through the subsequent months to come. So don't worry, there's plenty more content to come. So just wanted to put that out there. But how's everyone doing?
Doing pretty well. Today was like, some days feel like really long. Today was one of those days for me.
Yes, yesterday was mine. That's why I wasn't on.
Yesterday? Okay, yesterday for me at work, it was zooming by, and it's funny because my assistant and I, like, sometimes we'll look at the clock and we're like, oh, okay, we like what you're doing, clock. And then there are other times where we're like, somebody is messing with this clock. She'll say, whoever's controlling the clock they slowing it down, or it's broken or something like that. But today definitely felt like one of those long days at work. But alhamdulillah, I'm grateful for all of Allah's blessings. Thank you. Thank you to Allah for keeping us all safe and
yes,
bringing us back to our various locations.
Absolutely.
Here with my children, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful. But sometimes I do be wanting that clock just to move a little bit faster as I'm sitting at my desk getting all the work done. But how about for you all? How's it been for you today?
Been pretty good. In motion as always. I did get an invitation tomorrow to participate in the National Poll Worker Recruiting Day down in Philadelphia to open up the prayer there. So by Imam Idris at Mashallah. So we're looking forward to participate in that with Commissioner, one of our own,
Commissioner who?
Commissioner Sabir.
Oh, Marsha Sabir, yes,
Marsha
yes.
Sabir. So,
HBCU alumnus, Jane University.
absolutely. So we want to try to plug them in and get them on here. And I'm also
get
today,
the commissioner.
bring him on. I'm also rocking. This is another one of our supporters. Can you see it? Certified entrepreneur.
Oh, certified entrepreneur. Who's that from?
That's from Made in Baltimore. Abdul
Oh,
Malik.
yes.
Yeah,
Our brother Abdul Malik, his father, brother Sheikh Rashid Aziz, down there. They have the whole warehouse, which we'll be paying a visit to. They have a whole operation where they're teaching the young brothers and molding them into entrepreneurs and taking them off the streets and busying them with actually something productive. And so selling halal frozen treats and also making shirts like what Brother Deen has on right now. So stay tuned for that.
So how about you, man?
Lucky, every day is something
In the
new,
trenches,
right?
yeah.
Every day is something new, beloved. So Sunday, alhamdulillah, we were blessed to be at Baisley Pond Park in
MIA.
South
MIA.
Jamaica.
MIA.
You just call that brother out.
South Jamaica, Queens, for our it's not gonna be the last market. Actually, the last night market will probably be next month in September and end of September. But this one was really nice. Again, nice turnout, great people, a lot of Black-owned businesses as always, and it's just a fun night for family. I mean, it's good to have more halal family fun events where you could bring the whole family, and they have stuff for everybody to do. Like they had painting for the children and for adults. I mean, a sister who I know does a whole painting workshop, that's her business. She has the station set up. You can paint the mannequin head, and you can keep it. It's really nice, man. It was really nice. So I really enjoyed myself. So shout out to the Black Queens Resource Network for another successful night market. We're looking forward to the next one. Inshallah, all of us can be there to support the last. I think it's going to be the last one at the end of this September, which is towards the end of September. So more information on that. Monday was hell of long. Didn't get home to work till 8 o'clock. Didn't have dinner. I was just very out of it. We had mechanical issues with the truck. I got the truck's roof stuck underneath an underpass. So it kind of ripped a hole into the roof. So we had to deal with that and figure out how to get that fixed. So it was kind of rough because you got to talk to the bosses and stuff like that, let them know what happened, fill out the accident report, and just to check a pulse to make sure I'm okay. Everyone's okay. No one was injured. I mean, my coworker was not injured, but the truck did take a little hit that's going to cost us, the organization, some money to fix. So, we have to deal with that. But other than that, it's lessons learned. Driving a box truck in New York City is not easy. I'm not making excuses for myself, but driving any type of truck as bigger than a usual regular car, even though that's also gets a little risky, but driving a box truck in the city is definitely it's a task, nevertheless. Yeah.
And you got to stop drinking that halal Sorrel, man. You probably had a little.
I'll have my bottle. My bottle is in the refrigerator. I'm still on ice, man.
You were sipping
I do not. Moving on.
Yeah, well, actually, I don't know what. So alhamdulillah, so everything was good. Blessed. So far, so good. But yeah, so today we have a special guest for everybody. A very special guest, actually. A very powerful brother in the Muslim community in Philadelphia community that has a long history of history in this community. So we're going to read our brother's bio and get right to it. We don't want to not give you all this content here, man. Okay, yes. So our special guest tonight is no other than Brother Muhammad Abdul Warith of the Jawala Scout Muslim Male Youth to Manhood Development Program. He says, my role has been to design and facilitate all males between the ages of 7 and 19, Yahamakallah, the virtues of taqwa, God consciousness, discipline, responsibility, courage, leadership, self-defense, and survival in both the rural and urban environments. As a young man from Philadelphia, PA, returning from the Vietnam War in 1971, the reflections of growing up without a father in the home motivated me to dedicate my life to the challenges that faced our youth in the inner cities. In my research, I found scouting as an effective method in achieving the experience of the learning/safe fun system. High adventure as being extremely important to exposure and opening the young brothers up. Also, solutions needed to be developed for Muslims faced with the overwhelming pressure of the dominant culture in a country that had become a cesspool of vice and corruption. One of my biggest achievements is developing and integrating measuring tools for the rites of passage age of responsibility stage of our young brothers. Age 9 through the puberty stage brings both psychological and physiological challenges that in single-parent households needs attention from the scouting program. I have been involved in Islamic scouting for 48 years, alhamdulillah. At age 73, this December, I have been blessed to stay strong and healthy enough to continue the mission. I have worked with the World Islamic Organization in the late 70s and then on to the Jawala Scouts in 1981 at Marsha and Deen under the leadership of Imam Jamil al-Alamin, reporting to Imam Asim Abdul Rashid. So without no further ado, we'd like to bring on our special guest for this evening, Brother Muhammad Abdul Warith. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum. Welcome.
Oh, walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah.
That's the first bloopers on bloopers. Welcome.
Gotcha.
Yes, indeed, all praises belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we praise him and seek his help. And I seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the evil of myself and from the evil of my deeds. Whomsoever Allah ta'ala guides, no one can misguide. And whomsoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala leaves to go astray, there is for him no one to guide. I bear witness that there is nothing worthy of worship except Allah ta'ala, who is single, alone, without partners. And I bear witness that Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is his slave, servant, and messenger. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Ready to bring out my notebook
Thank
now.
you very much for having me on. Really nice meeting you and being able to share some of these life experiences with you. And again, I appreciate the invitation.
Thank you for being with us. I'm excited for this conversation this evening. I don't know much about Jawala Scouts. I've heard it mentioned a couple of times, but in terms of the history and the mission of the organization, I'm not too familiar. So for me, I'm really interested in how this dialogue will move forward. And so with that said, I know that we talked a little bit about your history with the organization and reading the bio, but tell us a little bit more and then give us some insight into the mission of Jawala Scouts.
Okay, basically, I will start off with a little history and to give you a general idea of how the mission maintained itself through those 4 to 5 centuries, decades, in terms of youth development and involvement. We start off in 1927 is the first mention, of what was called Young Men's Muslim Association. And this was in Cairo, Egypt. During that time, the formulation of a group called the Society of Muslim Brothers, okay, which a lot of people know of, Ikhwan al-Muslimin, at that time were very involved in developing, Islam, a return to Islam, the revival of Islam in the society, by which being a nation state had kind of gotten away from, Islamic principles and Islamic values. So as a result, they formed this organization, and it increased in membership by about 1932. With this increase, and that was around the outbreak of World War II. So in Egypt, with this, they formulated under the leadership of a brother named Hassan al-Banna, the rover. It was considered to be the rover Jawala Scouts, which was a youth component which allowed for the youth to be involved in the mission of the movement. Now, when we talk about 1932 Egypt, we talk about, 1920, those areas, 1940, you're talking about an era where the concept of movement was the direction of the organization of the Muslim Jamaat. They were struggling with nationalism in their own countries, as well as the deterioration of Islamic principles and values. There were also Christian missionaries very active there. The Jawala Scouts, as a youth component, inherited that mission as youth. These were 13 and 18-year-old young brothers, some brothers graduates from Al-Azhar, some brothers involved in school at that time. They joined the mission of the Jawala Scouts youth program in order to fulfill the mission of community service, health and welfare, right? And to assist in areas of the elderly. So that component was the first original indication, words, knowledge of Jawala Scouts. This is when it was formed, okay? And it was always used, again, as a youth component of the Islamic movement. And again, Islamic movement means the vision establishes the establishment of Islamic authority, Islamic state, okay? Now, as years go on, that diminishes, but we'll go through that. Briefly, I'll just give you that little bit about Egypt and the history and origination of the concept, all right, and what it actually tried to actually did achieve. Athletic activity, right, physical training were some of the priorities, scouting for that particular component, of the movement. So, okay, and at the same time, about we get to the 1950s, 1960s, okay, in the United States, the African American, the descendants of enslaved people, the African Americans were at that time dealing with the issue of Black identity. These were the 60s. These were times when Black nationalism was on the rise. And of course, the Black Panthers were active. There were things going on with Black people. At that time, right, the FBI, CIA was again trying to prevent the rise of Black leadership. So as a result, a lot of our brothers were incarcerated. A lot of our brothers were assassinated, killed, or whatever. And you notice the stories of who these leaders actually were. So in during that time, alhamdulillah, Allah had blessed some of the brothers who had stepped back from black nationalism to examine Islam. Some of them had went to prison. Some of them were in the community. They did that, and they formed the organization called the Dar Islam Movement. Okay, Dar Islam movement functioned from 1962 to 1982. The Dar Islamic movement's priority was the mission of engaging inner city youth. So they immediately developed the concept of Jawala. They inherited it, the principle remained, and the vision remained the same, because Dar Islam meant to the brothers abode of peace. It meant to them that, okay, we are striving to establish Islam. During that time period, there wasn't a lot of knowledge. These were just brothers taking shahada, fired up, just coming out of black nationalism and really wanting to establish something. And they did a phenomenal job. They established agriculture. They established hospital clinics. They established so much, the Dar Islam movement. And with that came the Jawala Scouts. So with the Jawala Scouts, what they did is they made a presence in the community by which the community respected Muslims. Like the NOI around the same time. Same thing. Islamic Party also, they were out of Washington, D.C. Same thing. African Americans, new to Islam, organizing and standing firm, looking to establish Islam. So again, Jawala Scouts played a critical role in that. And when you talk about scouting, it was once again character development, right? Islamic training, tarbiyah, tazkiyah, right? Skill, merit achievement. Scouting demands achievement, merit, accomplishment of merit badges, camping, hiking, fishing, swimming. These were all involved in that. These were the aims of scouting at that time: physical fitness and self-defense. Martial arts was very critical to the Jawala Scouts because it developed character. It was an excellent tool to develop character. And as it is today, you know, it's still doing the same thing. So that was it in terms of, so after 82, then I came, I was in Vietnam. After Vietnam, I got into something, and then I was able to release into the community around 81. And at that time, I had just finished with putting together the international scouting movement between some brothers from Washington, D.C., and some brothers from New Haven, Connecticut. And it was good. It was really healthy, and it was good, and we learned a lot. But at that time in Philly, 60th Street, Imam Asim was struggling to try to keep the Jawala Scouts at that point alive. One of the problems with Jawala Scouts has always been men volunteering to help and support it. It used to be a man came to Salat, he brought his sons. You bring your sons to Salat, those sons eventually become Jawala Scouts. So that was the kind of scenario, 81, you know, to 85. Okay, so in 85, a new manual was wrote up, and it goes on from there. So that's a little bit of the history, and I hope that answered a little bit of your question.
Absolutely. I appreciate that that journey through the history, because as I said, I don't know much about Jawala Scouts, and so, you know, obviously when I hear this term scouting, I think of that whole Girl Scout, Boy Scout concept, and so you talked about exactly what it is that you do with the young people. So I appreciate you for sharing it the way you did, because it gave a good picture from where it started and then transitioned to the present. So thank you for that. I'm curious to know what the participation looks like. I mean, you just kind of spoke a little bit to that just now, in that it used to be that, you know, if a brother came for Salah, he came with his son, and that was a recruitment tool for the scouting program. And so I'm curious to know what does the Jawala Scout program look like now in terms of enrollment of young boys?
Oh, very good question. The need is there because the environment is the way that it is. We have Muslim families, single Muslim families, nuclear families, multi-families. We have different scenarios of types of families with Muslim children in them that have the need to get assistance from the masjid in regard to the development. And particularly in the case that Islamic schools are declining. the sacrifice necessary, to establish and maintain Islamic schools is gone. And unfortunately, besides a few sisters, Cuba, a few in certain area schools, like I said, I give my thing out to what Atiba and them are doing in Atlanta, Memphis, Mirage. I mean, so there are efforts, but, in Philadelphia in particular, the ball has been dropped. And you have a lot of retired teachers right now that may not require as much, but people, you might find themselves in a car dealer or somewhere else, getting a new car or doing something else, you know what I mean, in terms of just living their lives. So I think there's a detachment there in terms of the time, whereas back in the day, which by Lord's grace, I was able to witness myself, that there was a different level of commitment. There had to be Islamic schools. We had the Islamic Center of Philadelphia. Schools were everywhere. So as a result, the safety net is what I'll call it, which is masjid, the home, and the school, linked and provided that safety net for that Muslim child, regardless of the conditions and circumstances that the family dynamics, put forth. Because there's a lot of things involved in that kids go through. And in the Jawala Scouts, we're able to catch a lot of that stuff. We're able to deal with it. Alhamdulillah, we have the skills to kind of dig into it. So alhamdulillah. So yes, the change is just that people they're not sacrificed. They just, brothers, and I'm talking about brothers, men, they're hardly coming to congregational salat. So that's our time. That's where we're at right now. And unfortunately, as a result, volunteerism is at also an equal decline. Most programs now, as you see, with SAVE, with Atiba in Atlanta and different programs, they're basically reaching out for federal funds, for grants and things like that to survive. But this is the Muslim community. It's our obligation and responsibility. So yes, sister, it's a change in time. It's just different people. So they don't, you may have a volunteer for a minute and then he's gone.
So what would you say is a solution or solutions to that? Because we're having all these conversations, and in these conversations, you mentioned quite a few brothers that we're familiar with as well, who have efforts, that are local efforts and some national efforts spread out across the country. And there's efforts like having brothers roundtables, et cetera, et cetera. Everyone is talking about this problem, but are we really getting to the solution? So I want to ask you, brother, what is your take on the solution for us men to really get back into and establishing Islam and establishing community life?
Well, currently right now, what we're actually doing about it is that we're in the process of recruiting what is called merit badge counselors. These are brothers who may not have the full time to devote, but they have a skill base by which that we can use. As an example, right now, we're going through a fishing merit badge. So I have 30, 35 boys that are involved in that. So I have recruited an instructor in fishing to help me with that. You see, so we're in the process in our locations, which I will explain to you later about the locations, that each location is responsible for recruiting in these counselors. And the person registers with the Jawala Scouts. He has to fill out an adult application. He has to pass, of course, child abuse and federal clearances in terms of that. And a lot of times those things are a problem for brothers. But however, those are some of the things that we're trying to do. And fundraisers, we're trying to do that. And we get a lot of support. But the issue is brothers' time, brothers' time as maintainers and protectors of their families and changes and divorces and life itself. You know what I mean? Consistency can't sometimes, be there. alhamdulillah. But inshallah ta'ala, we're working with that. But that's one of the things that we're doing now. We've developed that network, and inshallah, hopefully things work out. And again, this fishing instructor I just told you about, he's recent, he's new. So alhamdulillah, it's working, in terms of that. We also have a firearms instructor. We teach firearms safety to young brothers. It's very important for a young brother to understand the safety involved in a firearm, what it is, what it's used for, all those things. So we just have another brother that has stepped up, to do that. So that might not take as much of their time. They can come in for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, and still give us what we need, in terms of the adult and male presence. Inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. As we transition, I guess you just gave us one of the short-term goals. If you have a little more, you can share with us as also the long-term goals of the Jawala Scouts.
Okay, some of the short-term goals right now deal with the actual rites of passage initiative for the boys. As you see, we go 7, through puberty, into post-puberty or whatever. So in that process, if you don't have a system by which you can measure, exactly where the young brother's at, I'm talking about real data, how he treats his family, you know what I mean? Does he understand charity? Does he make salat? All these things that you have data, on a young brother. So that's what we're developing now. Short-term goal is we're continuing to kind of like do that, to kind of like monitor social, and personal behaviors in conjunction with their family. So if we have input from the family, school has just started back. We can also get input from the teachers. Then we can look for contradictions and help the young brother. Because again, scouting involves infiltrating the peer group, and adding value. That's our job. So, man, and we do that in a number of ways, but primarily, that's the mission and that's our goal. We're involved with them. We fish with them. We hunt with them. We hike with them. We camp with them. We climb mountains with them. We rappel with them. It's getting a little harder on me right now, but that's the way it is. I can't give it up. But yeah, that kind of interaction has a lot of value to it. So short-term wise, yes, we want to try to improve, that process. And, we have a 7-year worship skills curriculum that we're putting together, right? And an individualized, worship skill plan. So that means Amalu Salihat. That means you understand what you should be doing, right? But are you doing it regularly? And then consistent practices with it, because we're engaged, we're involved, with the children weekly. You see, so from the masjid. So that's very, very important. We're getting good response from it. An example is like rights and duties to their brothers and sisters, their siblings and their peers in play. How do they function like that? Rights and duties and parents and teachers. How now the school's back. Rights and duties to brothers and sisters in faith. You find out that you have a young brother that you're supposed to be developing in the Jawala Scout program, but he's rude to his friends and talks back to his parents and don't put out the trash. So, I mean, who's monitoring that? Who knows where he's at? How does he get from one stage of boyhood to actually manhood and that not being measured or weighed? Okay, so this is what we're doing, investing in short term. We got a good grip on it, alhamdulillah, and by Allah's mercy, hopefully, we can get some pretty good results down the line. Long term is Sabikun. Boys is divided in three categories. Muhajirin, Mujahideen, Sabikun. Muhajirin is 7 to 9. Mujahideen, 10, 12. Critical group, 10, 12. That's the puberty group. That's the group that you gotta work them. And then 13, 16, 17, 19, like that. Right now, the priority is that 13 and up group for long term. You know, we're targeting the ability to be able this year, by Allah's grace, we were able to get 2 Jawala Scouts, you know, admitted into Mirage Academy, okay, which was a huge achievement, and qualified for those scholarships. You know, indigenous brothers, you know, families poor, you know, and we were able to get them in the Mirage. So this long term, we want to establish that link at that critical age, you know, post-puberty, where it's like high school, but it's between high school, college, where they can get lost, right? And link them into an organized system like SAVE or Mirage, all right, or other efforts that are developed around the country. And the work that you're doing can help that, you know, because you'll be able to tie these things together and we can communicate. And so that's long term, Dean. That's long term for us. Is that critical back end of those older brothers? Because what's happening in some cases in some of our units, the older boys post 13 are leaving. They're leaving. They're like, I ain't a Jawala Scout no more. I'm not with them little guys. You know, I'm not whatever. And it's not like that because they're not ready. They haven't done anything. You know what I mean? So inshallah, that's long term.
And so you mentioned something that just stuck out for me, and it sounds so beautiful when you said it. You said that the mission is to infiltrate the peer group and add value, and I think that that's so key. And when you mentioned it, my mind sort of transitioned to, well, you know, I wonder if there is a certain age category where it's a little tougher to do this work. And I imagined that it was going to be the older children. So then when you touched on it, you know, it absolutely made sense, because I think youth development programs across the board have that same challenge. It's easier to keep the younger children in an organized activity. And then as they get older and feel more control over their thinking, their surroundings, their, you know, what it is that they want to be or not want to be involved in, it gets a little challenging. So thank you for addressing that. And I think the reason that I'm thanking you for addressing that is because parents need to be aware of, and I think for the most part parents are, but I think it's good to highlight the fact that that challenge does happen around that time, but there are programs out there that can still help that age group. And as much as possible, if we can keep our children connected to it, if we can encourage them to stay connected to it, that there's benefit and value, especially our brothers, for their development, because, you know, I feel like that does happen across the board for youth programs. So thank you for bringing that up, because I just think that our viewers and listeners, on whatever format they're viewing or listening to us at the moment, need to just be reminded of the fact that as our young boys get older, it's important for them to stay connected to something that is going to focus on them getting what they need in that development. You mentioned earlier, you know, families have different dynamics. And sometimes it doesn't even matter if it's a poor family versus a well-off family, a middle-class family, or whatever. The dynamics in the home sometimes are such that, you know, if it's a single parent home, you know, mom may not necessarily have the time to cultivate the child the way that she would like, because she's got to take care, or dad, or the both of them together just have so much to do to take care of the home that sometimes it gets lost on the child to receive that cultivation. So I just wanted to emphasize to our viewers that Jawala Scouts is an option. And I always say, don't let go of your children too soon. And so you pretty much spoke to that, you know, that 13, I think you said, to 19 age range. Just because they're getting older, just because they are coming into their own, so to speak, just don't let go too soon. So I just wanted to put that in there.
If I can mention one of the things,
sure,
real quick, before you ask a question,
sure,
is that the earlier you get them, that's where early intervention is so important. The better it is for when they do turn 15 or 4. You understand? If you got him at 7 and you got him at 8, he's consistent in the program, and he's going through each stages. He's gaining merit. You know what I mean? He's accomplishing what he should accomplish. By the time he's 16, 17, you don't have those problems. He's attached to the Jawala Scouts. But a lot of our problems have been that when parents bring guys at 15, at 16, never been running around the house, cell phone, and you bringing them for us, to do what? You know what I mean? So, I usually get rid of them. So, I mean, I'll be honest with you, ain't gonna mess up this. But, the bottom line is that it's the early intervention is important for that.
Right. And you talked about them achieving merits. And when I hear you say that, to me, that's simply just, we use the word accountability, right? So we're giving them positive reinforcement for being accountable for what we hold them to. So you mentioned taking the garbage out, whatever it is, whatever the requirement is, those merits are us holding our children accountable for the things that we have that we set out for them as benchmarks and goal posts. So I just wanted to point that out as well, because sometimes we don't have requirements for our children, or the requirements that we give them are very basic. And then because of that, then when we start asking for more, they start looking at us like we crazy. But I want to move on to adding the community into this conversation. And so Jawala Scouts is available to our young boys and young men up to the age of 19. And you talked about the positive points of the movement, but you also talked about areas where there's struggles or room for growth and opportunity. And so I'm wondering, how can the community help? What is it that the community can do to push those short-term, long-term goals that you set out for Jawala Scouts forward?
All right. From experience, a sister will drive up. Okay, she got two boys in the car, one 13, one 9, one 10, one 8, whatever the case may be. Sister, drive up. Assalamu alaikum. This Jawala Scouts, can I, can I get information, whatever? Yeah, sure. You know what I mean? And when we get the information and the sister goes out, but whatever, you kind of find out she got a husband. They got a father. She got a husband. They got a father, right? But we don't see him. So what we need, one of the things we need is we need fathers and men to stop by the masjid, okay? Masjid, Sabikun, Chester, Philadelphia Masjid, that's where I'm at. Masjid Allah, that's where Brother JB is at, okay? Masjid UMM is True Mu'minun, 15th Street, right? Just stop by there, right? And just see what, ask about Jawala Scouts and what they need. The men and the brothers. And be aware of that, if you have sons, you know what I mean? You should bring them. You should be involved with them. You should sacrifice 1 week in a month with the Jawala Scouts with them. That's what we need. Men to get involved, right? And I mean, Philadelphia is funny in a lot of ways, and we kind of categorize stuff a lot because we've been hit, externally from a lot of different sides. However, we've got to start beginning to trust each other enough, to know exactly what we need to change the future of these young people that's going to be entering into it. So, yeah, men, we need men committed or whatever. We also need donations. We need money and whatever. The Scout, we don't take money from federal government or never. My 48 years, if the parents not going to do it, it's not going to get done. And that's the principle. And so far, they stepped up to the point where they stepped up. Dues are only $10 a month per kid. There's no registration fee. It's not about, and so you're asking me, how are you doing it? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's a provider. Allah provides for some way. We need to go. We got the van. We got the fishing rods, right? We got the archery. We got the bows and the arrows. We got what we need. Allah provides. So we do need money, though, for real. So another thing, I'll give you an address and tell you some of the things that we need. Is it time for that?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely, brother. Absolutely. It's always,
and that's Jawala Scouts Incorporated. Jawala Scouts Inc. 773 South Hicks Street,
Jawala
Philadelphia, PA 19146. Some of the things we're trying to get right now that we need is equipment. Like right now, the archery merit skill badge, right? That exposes the boys to accuracy, to archery, a sunnah of the Messenger of Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Those cost money. The bows right now are usually 100 and something. A bucket of arrows is like $65. So it's like in that area that we can get equipment. We also need mats for wrestling. We do a lot of wrestling, especially the young guys. They love it. We need camping equipment. And most importantly, we could always use a vehicle. Somebody got a vehicle they're not using or whatever, a van or something like that, we could use it. So those are specific kinds of things that we need, like right now, to continue, the challenges that we have with the boys that we have. Right now, I have 35 boys at Philadelphia Masjid. Masjid Sabikun has about 24. Al-Waqiyah and Masjid Allah. Bilal has maybe about 12. And Mu'minun is reorganizing. Masjid Mujahideen also is reorganizing. So those are some of our numbers, and that's the address, and those are some of the things that we need.
Address again, you said is Jawala Scouts Inc. That's P.O. Box? P.O. Box 773?
No,
South.
It's just 773 South address.
Gotcha. 773 South Hicks Street.
Hicks Street, Hicks.
Philadelphia, PA 19146.
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna put that address in the comment and up on the screen so the believers, brothers and sisters. Now it's time. It is time about that time in the show that we express to you all the importance. This show express to you all the importance of having programs and institutions like this that service our youth and particularly our young men. Brother Muhammad Abdul Warith has been doing this for years upon years upon years of working in the community, and along with the other brothers he's been in the trenches with doing the same. And all we are asking is that you make a donation. Jawala Scouts Incorporated, 773 South Hicks Street, Philadelphia, PA 19146. Send your checks, send your money orders. Go by the master. If you need to go by the master, bring a check to JB. Bring a check to JB. I'm sure he'll be able to take it. Checks and money orders. We take that. The brothers need mats. They need mats for wrestling. If you want to donate, maybe donate some mats for wrestling. You got some bows and arrows. Maybe you want to buy the bows and arrows and donate the bows and arrows to the brothers. You can do that too. If you have a van that you're not using, as the brother said, that's in mechanical shape, that's in good shape, then send it over. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I might have to pull up on them. I might have to pull on you. Pull up on you, brother Muhammad.
Okay.
With the new freedom mobile, man.
Oh, you got one? You got one?
Yes, sir. We'll talk.
We got one.
What you got? 15 passengers?
21
21 passengers?
Yes, sir.
Oh man, it's done. What you talking about? We ain't got to talk to nobody.
We come pull up on you, man.
You gotta
That's a blessing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the other day, man, we was trying to go. Where was we trying to go? We was trying to go up Hickory, not Hickory Run, up to Valley Green in the back. And we just didn't have enough room. You know, I have like a Suburban, and one of the other brother has like a little station wagon. So we try to, you know, and then we can't, and then nobody got it. Nobody goes.
Right.
And they're mad. But yeah, that'd be a blessing. Pull up, please.
Well,
I have one additional question. And you may have shared it, and if I missed it, I apologize. But how often do you meet with the boys?
Yeah, technically the requirement is twice a week, one weekday, and the weekend. Okay. Right now, we're doing basically the weekend. We're doing either that, and every fourth week we do the complete weekend. We do the Friday to Sunday. It's what is called a field trip. If they're working on a specific merit badge, they'll be doing that during the week until the fourth week. Then they go on a field trip involving that, like to the horse stable or whatever. Like this week, where they're going to do the Zabiha Halal, you know, out on the farm. Sure. All right, that's the field trip related to, you know, halal slaughter. So, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, and this is a beautiful effort. This is a beautiful effort amongst many, but this is a beautiful effort as the brothers are gaining crucial training in the crucial different topics, different areas, and don't think you're gonna get your merit badge so sweet, brothers. You're gonna get you to do your 25 push-ups.
You gotta put some work in.
You gotta put some work in, right? You got to
hey, you noticed the knuckles. See, you didn't notice that.
Oh,
okay.
Pull out the knuckles.
You better believe it.
Oh, they do the knuckle push-ups. Okay. All right. And then don't forget,
is that abuse? No.
We got the self-defense, the karate. You know what I mean? The martial arts. If you know what I mean, we need brothers in the martial arts. It's a self-defense. You know, we defend ourselves. We defend our women and our family. You know, this is just a good skill to have in your repertoire when you're out here navigating these streets, man. So we definitely appreciate that. Also, we can't forget the Jawala Scouts Alumni Awards Banquet, which is coming up Sunday, October 10th, 2021, at Masjid Allah from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. The tickets are $50 or $400 per table. Please support our youth. The oral history of Jawala Scouts will be given. There will be a drilling demonstration, and the special guest is Sheikh Shuaib Abdul Rahim. So call brother JB, James Bilal, at 267-257-0946. Again, it's 267-257-0946. Or brother Hussein Abdul Rashid, 267-773-9252. 267-773-9252. And get your tickets right now. $50. Get a table. How many at the table? How many at the table?
8. It's 8 at the table.
8 at the table. So bring a squad, bring a jamaat, bring your sahabi. You know, so bring them through to support the Jawala Scouts Alumni Awards Banquet Sunday, October 10th.
It is alumni, and it's alumni banquet, which means that it's going to be scouts from way back, and what they have achieved. To see, you know, the impact of what the program was, and we got 48 guys coming, 48, 33, 46. I mean, these are the ages. Then we have a younger group from 19 to 25. That will also be, you know, honored in terms of their alumni and being a Jawala Scout and their achievements. You'd be amazed at what these guys have done. You know, really. I mean, these guys, they're stuck in there. Now, everybody didn't do that well, okay? But these guys, we want to recognize, you know, inshallah.
That's what I was going to ask in closing. I know growing up and coming to the Masjid and seeing you and the Jawala Scouts, some of my friends, and seeing, like you said, some of the good things they have done. So can you just like the this also being so why it's good for the young people to do it while they're young and as they grow up to be good citizens. Can you also mention the I guess the crime deterrent, right? Because as you mentioned, these crucial years of giving them focus-based activities, values, a mission that also deters crime, violence, and stuff going on the street. Have you experienced some of that as you were over your years, as far as like, young people that you've trained or dealt with, how they've been crucial in deterring violence and crime in the community? Because you are the friends who you keep, right? So if they're in if they're in the Jawala Scout system and they're getting what they need to be a model man or a model citizen, have they been effective in their community as well?
Yeah, I think the basis of that is home, their parents. And the home was mainly a crucial. We've recognized that a lot of the boys, young brothers, young men that have now moved on and are older, right, were those ones whose parents, were very involved with them, and so it's not only they sought out, the Jawala Scout program for their son. And as a result, I mean, they would be like, you going to Scouts regardless, good days or bad days. And as a result, that consistency and stuff, really helped them develop. So parents is the key thing I've seen with that. However, we've had some great parents, but they made mistakes. When you talk about crime, whatever, it's like I said, family dynamics, you don't know how they roll out. So in other words, there's other stuff going on. And you know what I mean? Maybe he gets attached to a bad friend. Maybe, whatever the case may be in terms of his decision making, right? So he gets caught up. But we also have a percentage of the Jawala Scouts who have made those kinds of mistakes, okay, and have got in trouble and have been involved in crime. So again, like I say, that triangle, homeschool, masjid, I think it's the best instrument to help them get through that, specifically 1925. See, 1925 for those guys is also pretty critical, depending upon they get to 19. All right. But if you notice the statistics in crime, 19 to 25, young black men ain't making it. For the most part, they're the ones committing these crimes, loosely or whatever the case may be. So getting past that 19 to 25 is critical too, because then parents are not as, much as an impact, you see? So, in terms of that, a lot that have been involved in crime. I think, did I answer the question?
Yes, sir. For the most part, just like you said, the dynamics, it really goes back to the family, which spills
right. Really, for sure. Yeah.
I guess one other element that comes to mind is also business development. Do you guys address entrepreneurship?
Yes. Entrepreneurship is a scouting skill. We have various scouting skills, from oceanography to arts and crafts to mountain climbing to whatever. But yes, entrepreneurship is a scouting skill. However, at this point, we're looking to spend more time in that area once we get a business person to be able to commit some time to that. So, but yes, it's a scouting skill, and it's a choice that the scout can make. He can make a scout that is his pathway that he's going for, his merit achievement. He can say, I want to do entrepreneurship, right? And then we'll follow up with pursuing that particular counselor or person involved and do that. But yes, no doubt, entrepreneurship is very, very important.
Excellent. So as we close up, as we offer all of our guests that came and joined us during this month of highlighting institutions that are developing, continuing the legacy of the triumphs we made outside of in freedom, and then pushing forward to the next generation, we offer our support to you and your organization in line with some of the things that you share with us today. We do got a special pick I think we're going to show. Well, are you ready for that one?
Yeah, we just letting you know Muhammad Abdul Warith got a creative side.
That's my skill. That's my hidden skill. Don't show that to the scouts. All right.
I'm gonna rip them.
That's chill time.
Yeah. We want to show balance, that
Mashallah.
all creative. We all have a creative side. We all
Ah,
That's that scouting paint.
there you go. That's right.
So we want to thank and appreciate alhamdulillah for our brother Muhammad Abdul Warith for his efforts. May Allah continue to bless you and your team, the brothers that you have worked tirelessly, that's still working tirelessly in the trenches to do this work. It's not no easy task. You all have been doing it for such a long time, and it's in itself is a blessing. That in itself is a major blessing, and in itself you get to see at this banquet and on the streets of Philadelphia all these brothers that you all have impacted, like in a positive way, and that itself speaks to, and inshallah will speak for your benefit when we go in front of Allah, that this counts towards our barakats, your barakats, to get into Jannatul Firdaus, inshallah, like, because that's such a major thing. Like, we don't know how much of influence we have on each other until like maybe years later. But like, you see a brother in his 40s, but like, yo, Abdul Warith, like, I'm doing this, I'm married, and like, I bet you already get those stories already, like, so it's definitely a humbling experience. We ask Allah to keep you in good health and good spirit, to keep you in shape to continue to do this work. Like Deen said, we're here to support you in any type of way that we can. We have the 21-seater van. We can pop up down to Philadelphia and pull up on the brothers at the masjids to say the word, man. You understand what I'm saying?
Wow, you don't know how much good news that is. 21 passions. Wow, everybody can go.
Nobody left behind, brother.
Nobody.
Take the Scout wherever you guys want to go. So
between that and my Suburban, we be straight.
Alhamdulillah. So yeah, let's make it happen, inshallah. Again, we thank you. And one more reminder, brothers and sisters, to do not forget. Your sister, your daughter says, "Did my pops do a good job today?"
Absolutely, sis.
You know what she asked me?
You did an excellent job, sis.
Bilal, you know what she asked me? She asked me why you didn't come on my podcast. You know what I thought? I said, first of all, you never asked me. I said, number two, I don't have no love problems. You know what I mean?
Sis,
that's all you deal with.
We're sending him over there. Okay? We warmed him up for you. We are sending him over there to you, sis. We warmed him up for you, okay? He gonna get on that show.
Look, that's my girl.
He gonna get on that show, and then we gonna come get the van and take everybody on the trip with the 21 passengers.
Allahu Akbar. That's real stuff. Now that's real stuff. You know what I mean? Alhamdulillah. No words, real actions.
That's right. You know what I mean? So alhamdulillah, we appreciate this time. Closing remarks, Deen? You have a closing remarks to Marsha?
I mean, I appreciate you for being on with us today. I had a wonderful time learning about the Jawala Scouts. To our viewers, know that, this is a group that is willing to be a part of that triangle that the brother spoke about, the family, the school, the masjid, right? The Jawala Scouts is right up in there. And, we need support for especially the parents out there who are raising boys. I happen to have all girls, but for the parents out there who are raising boys or, a nephew, a grandson, this group is willing to join forces with you in developing your young boys and men, and take the opportunity to take advantage of what they have to offer for the benefit of the males in your life. And they need support. The brother spoke about the things that would benefit them, and what they need to do what it is that they do. But he also talked about, each month the dues are $10. So if you wanted to sponsor a child for the whole year, that's only $120. So, whatever you can give. But when if we want to push the needle forward, we talk all the time about our young Black boys and what's happening to them. And that extends to our young Muslim boys too, or our young Muslim Black boys, however you want to spend that thing. Our boys need support. They need cultivation. Our girls get a lot. They get a lot. Just and when you look at the mainstream, our girls get a lot. And sometimes our boys don't get that, for all the things that are out there. One of the things the brother said was that, the goal is to infiltrate the peer group and then add value. And so the Jawala Scouts is here to add the value. And I know for those of us who have young males in our lives and want the best for them, sometimes when we see them in that peer group that we know is not beneficial and we don't know what to do, there's a group here that has some experience and has a skill set to be able to help. So reach out to the brother, sponsor a child to be a part, whatever it is you can do. Just consider that there's a group there to help. If you're in the Philly area, check out the Jawala Scouts.
Philly, Delaware, New Jersey, tri-state area, Delaware Valley. One of the things that I want to say in closing is just appreciate you for coming on. Also, what the benefit that I got from tonight's discussion is not to take it for granted, right? Because, like I said, I grew up in that community, around the community, and seeing the Jawala Scouts. And shout out to the ones I know: Mujahid Abdul Latif, Sanai, Jalil, Salim, Zaid, and a whole host of others. Young brothers, and I have 3 boys, so they definitely gonna get on that bus with us and get in the ranks. But yeah, men, don't take it for granted, right? Because I was raised with my father in the home. Every day I saw my father. Unfortunately, the dynamics that my children growing up is a little different, right? So don't take it for granted. So this organization is very crucial. It's a duplicatable model, as he shared. It goes way back, and you just need dedicated brothers to step up and stand up, because we don't want to take these things for granted. We don't know how long we're going to be here and who we're going to be with. So
I remember when you was a little guy, man.
Yes,
you was a nice guy, man. You know what I mean? I said, I don't know if I'm going to put a uniform on him. You know what I mean? He's a nice guy, man. God bless you to turn out real good.
Alhamdulillah. And seeing you as a model man in our community, and I also want a rematch on that bean pie. I know your wife. His wife threw down. We was in a bean pie contest.
Mashallah.
I think she came second. We was right behind her, so got to get a rematch.
Inshallah.
Imam Bilal?
Well, we have a dua, and this is I'm just going to read this, and then we can just sign off. Your daughter says, "May Allah bless you all for highlighting the work of my father. He's been dedicated long than I've been alive." So, alhamdulillah, Allahumma ameen.
Hold on. Sabrina, I wasn't gonna say nothing. But she laughed at me last time I was down in Atlanta with my pie. So that she gonna call me out again.
Yeah, you got a good pie. You just ain't beat us.
I ain't make it that day. But it's all good.
But I wanted to say one last thing about a rites of passage that I think we don't, kind of like want to get a really good grip on. And that is because that without it, it's sort of like the lifelines to masculinity in a young brother are basically severed. He doesn't know, because nobody officially tells him, right, that you're a man, that you have, you've attained manhood. There's not a system. There's not a measuring tool. There's nothing. He's just left to say he a man when he think he's a man. So rites of passage is critical to have with our young men. Very, very important, because without it, that's where a lot of confusion comes in, with those guys. So I just want to say that before I got off.
Yeah, that's a whole nother show. We want to bring you back. We are working on the program for men development.
We gotta bring him back with brother Tiba and brother Tariq Abdul Malik from the Mecca Institute,
and Ibn.
Brother Ibn Mutakabir from down there in Charlotte. They have the Brother Summit. They do things with the brothers in the wilderness as well. They have conversations like this. So we wanna have a rites of passage conversation and let's do a joint effort, inshallah. We'll talk about it. Let's do a joint effort. We need to do some more joint efforts. Bring some of these institutes together. And let's just do a joint effort together, inshallah, in the future, man. Combine our efforts. But I'll get off my my crate. No pun intended. I know everyone's
Not the
standing in
crate.
crates. Don't
Not
be
the
standing in
crate.
crates.
No more crates.
No more crates. Get on this Jawala Scouts. Instead of buying crates, you should be sponsoring a child to be in the Jawala Scouts. Sponsoring a man, $120. Marsha calculated $120 for the year. You spend $10 at these coffee shops. I'm not gonna mention their names. You spend $10 at the coffee shop. Put $10 behind one of these young men. You know what I'm saying? Put $10 behind one of these young men. Make a donation. Come to the banquet. Inshallah, we will be at the banquet. Let's come to the banquet Sunday, inshallah. Sunday, October 10th, 2021, at Masjid Allah from 2 to 6 p.m. Tickets are $50. A table is $400. Open up your pockets, open up your wallets. It's for the good cause. Okay, call the brother James Bilal again, 267-257-0946, or brother Hussein Abdul Rashid, 267-773-9252. Okay, and don't forget one last thing. Don't forget those checks and money orders. You can send those checks and money orders to. Can we get the address up there for the checks and money orders one more time? Checks and money orders to. What's the address? Is it up there? Jawala Scout. There we go. Jawala Scouts Incorporated, 773 South Hicks Street, Philadelphia, PA, 19146. Okay, that's all the ways you can donate. They need mats for wrestling, bows and arrows. If you want to buy those supplies and donate to the brothers, more merrier. But if you want to give checks, money orders, this is the address to send it to. And inshallah, may Allah accept our sadaqah. May He reward us. May Allah bless the brothers and brother Muhammad Abdul Warith and his team and all the brothers down in the various masajids who are doing this work and protect our young men. May Allah protect our young men and protect our families and guide our families and have mercy on us, because we fall short. We all fall short, but may Allah help us to get back on the straight and narrow path. And hope, inshallah, Jawala Scouts will be here 5, 10, 20, 50, 100 years later, still going, still pumping. You know what I'm saying? Because we're tight as a community. So as we have to get tight and support the brothers, stay tight, support, get in. If you are a skill set, one last bus. If you have a skill, if you have a skill, any skill that's needed that you want to give some time to, come hit up Muhammad Abdul Warith, hit up some of these masajids, Masjid Allah, the United Muslim Masjid. It's in the comments on the masajids. Go to some of these masajids, speak to the people, say that you got a skill, you want to give it back. Inshallah, may Allah reward you for that. Okay, that's it. That's all I'm saying, man.
Ameen.
So again, we thank you all. This has been a wonderful month of New Africa August. We've been highlighting institutions throughout the country and international on those that are focusing on building model communities, global citizens, and improving the quality of life wherever we are around the world. So it's been our honor to continue the legacy that was initiated from We Buy Black, from Sharif Abdul Malik last year, and we took it up and continued it. And as Bilal said, as we develop our network, we're going to be reaching out to other institutions and other podcasts. Sister Sabria Mills, Sister Dope Muslima, welcome to join our network and push this message forward, because it's not only just spreading the good news, it's also combating corruption, misunderstanding, and disinformation. So we thank you again for joining us. Until next time, we're going to have this is a spoken word piece as we close out. Until next time, salam, peace.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
On June 17th, 2015, Dylan Ruff walked into a midweek Bible study. He sat and prayed with the church members before pulling out his gun, killing most, and allowing one to live. After the incident, he was found and arrested peacefully. When Dylan Ruff killed 9 innocent black people, we did not question his God. He wore flags of apartheid Africa. We did not question his allegiance. He committed the crime alone. We did not question his people. When Adam Lanza shot a classroom full of first graders at Sandy Hook Elementary, we did not ask him to leave the country. When Timothy McVeigh killed 168 people in Oklahoma, we did not call this a crime against every American. When the KKK killed thousands of black people, while swearing to uphold Christian morality. We did not ask them to remove their robes. We did not call all Christians bigots. Do you see it? How we don't label all white men based on the sins of a few. Do you see it? How we don't have to condemn a whole class of people based on the actions of some. Do you see it? How all the names are different, how all the faces are different, how all the people are different. Therefore, we should not condemn all Muslims for the radicalism of a group. If you want to persecute ISIS, go ahead, but to persecute ISIS is to persecute those that gave them power. To persecute those that gave them power is to persecute the U.S. government. Do your research. Islam is not synonymous with terror. It is literally submission. It is devotion. It is peace. Terrorism is actually forbidden, and jihad does not mean holy war. It means struggle. It means survival. It means standing face to face with everything that wants to put you in the ground and choosing to be alive. Do your research and stop listening to CNN. Stop trading humanity for hypocrisy. Stop staring at Muslims in the airport. Stop letting your fear drag you into ignorance. Stop supporting billionaire Republicans who want to scare you into murdering the innocent, and start supporting leaders who speak peace in their native tongue. Instead of burning down the mosque, burn down the walls around the pulsating muscle in your chest and realize that we all have one. And lastly, as the customary greeting goes, Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you. Wa alaikum assalam, and upon you be peace. Do you see it?